figure he's digging a hole for the drill mud. That's what they'll do, is they'll set up the pump to pump from there and push it down the drill pipe. So you can see there's a clear plastic tube that runs up and down there on the ground there. That'll be where they pump in water or mud to force down the drill pipe. And we're away. So rotated by electricity and lowered by hand. So operating that chain. So now the team will pick up the water pump and bring it over. That doesn't look right. This is the view from my tank stand camera currently. So that's where it's all happening. The guy in the foreground is doing my warm water system plumbing. The idea is loop of black poly tube on the roof, little that's a 12 volt hot water recirculation pump there, powered by solar panels. So the idea is that when the sun's shining, it will heat the water in the black tube and also power a pump to circulate it back to the tank on the tank stand. It was always designed from day one that the tank stand had a top tank for general cold supply and a lower tank which was to be the warm water tank. Warm water being gained by heating it in the black poly tube. House was built quite some years ago, but we're finally getting there. It's largely a case of the locals just don't understand concepts like having hot and cold running water. It's just completely foreign to them. They're just used to having cold showers. So I figure that, well, you don't really need a hot shower here because the climate's not inclined to make you want to have a hot shower, but just taking the chill off the water would make it more comfortable. Chill being a relative thing. So I figure that this will warm up the lower tank to the point where, yeah, you can have a shower and not be screaming. We'll see. Meanwhile, in front of the purple house, you can see the guy with the white hat there up on the drill rig. They're doing that bore, hopefully for fresh water instead of the salty water we get out of the well. I should have clarified that the water in the well is salty because we previously did a bore down to 42 metres and there's salty water at that level. So that bore is immediately beside the well, which required removing roof and all sorts of things to get access in there originally. This one is going to go much deeper. Apparently there's fresh water somewhere beyond 100 metres, might be 150 metres, but these guys are using electric drive, which means that it'll be a damn sight easier than the previous one. The previous one went down 42 metres, but it was completely manual. Basically the guys had a petrol powered pump to pump water into a swivel at the top of the pipe string, but it was just a pulley and rope to pull that swivel up and down, and so that could get quite heavy. And the way they turned the pipe string was they basically just had a lever they clamped onto the pipe string, and a guy on each end of the lever would twist the thing, and then they'd twist it until it went down far enough that they'd loosen the bolts on the clamp on the lever and raise it up and twist it again. So it was a lot of work. This one's going to be a bit easier. And on the subject of cameras, I've decided that this one that's currently on the tank stand will be removed and put on the left hand or south end of the top of the shed, and I'll get a fixed IP camera, so not pan, tilt, zoom, and actually have that covering the front of the shed like this one kind of does at the moment. And I've also ordered another pan, tilt, zoom camera for the other end of the shed, so I should be able to get good coverage of everything I want to see. So it's a bit of a break, and doing some repairs apparently, but also a case of noisy sky again. Oh, there's City with grandson. We have the charge dissipator lightning spikes on the top of the house over there, but I don't think those will protect these guys if that thing gets struck by lightning, so I hope they're a little bit cautious. And these guys have stopped boring the well because of rain, or sort of stopped drilling the bore because of rain, so I'm thinking perhaps they should call it a rain day, come back the next sunny day. Well, yesterday was a bit exciting, but not in a good way. It was very, very dull. We ended up having about just under 46 millimetres of rain, but it was dull all day to such an extent that there was bugger all solar input. And with these guys trying to run this stuff here, which takes about 4 kilowatts, it was pulling down the shed fairly rapidly, the shed battery. And it was also trying to charge the house, but didn't get terribly far with that. I switched the house old switchboard away from off-grid to PLN fairly early in the day, but even so we still had fairly low charge, and I thought, well, this is alright, this is what we got a gen set for. Went and tried to start that, and it wouldn't start. It cranks for a while, then pauses, then cranks for a while, then pauses, cranks for a while and says, "No, I give up." Well, I did several cycles of that, and I was pushing the fuel primer pump occasionally to try and think, okay, just in case the fuel shortage with the system after sitting for a while. Nothing worked, so put in calls, say help. We probably weren't going to get through the night on the battery we had until I took extreme measures. I shut down a lot of stuff I don't normally shut down, and that was enough to get us through the night on battery alone, although we did get a low battery warning from the shed. And I was trying to organise, get somebody to come and fix the thing. And this morning I went over there, and I'd had the battery charger on it because all the cranking had pulled down the state of the battery quite a bit, or the battery in the unit itself. So I'd had the battery charger on it, and I went over this morning to put that back on because I took it off overnight just in case, and hit the button and let it go through one crank cycle, and it didn't start, so I hit the stop just so it wouldn't carry on. Put the charger back on it, and later on came back over, and the battery was fully charged, so I took the charger off it, and I was just explaining to the drill rig guys here that the thing wouldn't start, and I was going to demonstrate, so I hit the start button. Damn thing fired immediately. Okay. So then it was a case of it would run for a while and then shut off. Okay, go and hit the start button, run for a while and shut off. Go and hit the start button, and it was charging the battery before it shut down, but I figured out what was happening was too many kilowatts being pulled by the systems inside the shed from the genset. The genset was shutting down to protect itself from an overload situation. So got on the ASAP and said, I think we need to limit what it tries to pull from the genset. And after quite a bit of experimentation, I think it's been done now. So now everything's been set to automatic. So the state of charge over the shed was up over 90% when we finished that, because the genset had been running for a while, putting out between 12 and 15 kilowatts, so it was doing the right thing. So now the house system is pulling charge from there, as well as its own solar cells, and these solar cells on the shed are basically supplying this drill rig here and keeping the batteries charged a bit. So and these guys are rigging up my solar water heating system, hopefully. So we shall see. Looks like we've got a tank that's overflowing here. I'm going to go and turn off the switch. As to why the genset wouldn't start yesterday, it was either the state of charge of its own starting battery was not quite high enough, or we might have got a bit of bad fuel through the line. But it starts reliably now. And these guys I have no idea how many metres deep. Yesterday I didn't switch the old switchboard across to the off-grid system all day. I thought, okay, let's get everything fully charged up. So we ended the day with everything charged up and all out of the batteries. This morning I switched across to off-grid and we're at 2:30 and everything's fully charged, even though we are using the drill motors at the moment. So we're fully charged, and the solar panels are actually what are powering the motors currently, because there's excess power. Good. I figure the surest way to stop the thunder that's been going on for the last half hour is come out and turn the camera on. It'll probably stop immediately. But there's a little bit in the distance. But my tanks at the shed are full, so I went over and turned off the depth tube, because I made that long enough that it reaches to the top, like the roof of the tanks on the inside. But what I hadn't accounted for was that the tanks actually have the input hole and the manhole access, and those squares penetrate up through the 200 mils of the roof. I've said before background was noisy. Yeah, so the depth tube that I have on the outside, I really should replace that with one about 200 mils longer that goes a bit higher. But yeah, I keep saying background was noisy. Lots of noisy children, lots of motor scooters, lots of angle grinders, lots of thunder. Fair chance we're going to get more rain in a moment. The guys had a water pump failure several hours ago. Still working on it. Must be a fairly major sort of failure. Yesterday about 2:30 I asked how deep are we, and they said 67 metres. So no idea how deep we are now. Oh, they were down for a few hours, but they've obviously fixed the pump and they're back in action. And it's looking very dark over in the south, so we might get more interesting weather. We now have garden taps on the gardens. So they've got the screw ends on them, so we can screw on the standard click-on fittings later if you want to. Probably do that to at least one of these at this end. And they're high enough off the ground you can get a bucket under them. The guys installed the necessary plumbing for the shower in here, but obviously they still don't comprehend that the idea is that you mix hot and cold water normally. But Jabita actually tried this last night, and she said that initially that yes, the water coming out was cold. Well, that's fair enough, that's the water between here and the tank. But then it actually was quite good. So the water in the tank is heating up using that 10-15 metres of black poly tube. I don't know how warm it is. It wouldn't be too good in the morning, perhaps. But I do have insulation material left over from insulating the ceiling of the house here, so we may be able to wrap the tank. Well, these guys have gone down 105 metres apparently, and they've now removed the drill head and are jacking the pipe string out. Now, whether that's because 105 metres of pipe was all they had, or they got down as far as the good water, I don't know. It's obviously not artesian water because it's not bubbling out, which implies we'll have to put a submersible pump in, but that would require a bore casing. Hello. So, hello. So yeah, that. Yes, I don't know what the answer is at this point, what's going on, but I have to trust that these guys know what they're about. So there's our bore casing. There's a submersible pump that goes down the inside of that, and we'll feed electricity. But they've got a little way to go removing. Now, Jabita told me, it wasn't Jabita, it was one of the other guys told me 105 metres, but Ezra tells me 70 metres, so I don't know how deep it's gone. But supposedly it's not salty water, which is the key thing. But we shall see. Meantime, my switchboard allows for cables running to 8 other houses, and for 2 of them it's to take them completely off grid. That's Lisa's and Dadang's houses, and for the others it's to provide a connection to a fridge backup box. So the box has got a relay in it so that when the mains are working, the relay is active and the fridge is connected to the mains. If the mains go off, the relay de-energizes and connects the fridge to my off-grid system via this cable. So these guys are currently preparing that. So these guys are preparing the bore tube for the bottom to have the water seep in. So basically making perforated tube. So this is the 4th one so far by the look of it. Hopefully we'll get non-salty water out of this at the result. Well, I might get an approximation of what I was expecting. That's 4 lines coming out of there. One that's going to that heads across to Box House. One that heads across to Santa's house, and two that come across here. One for this house and one to continue on to Titin's house. We'll do Yaya's house and Sarmina's house from the other end of the house. This house. Well, the bore casing is still going down. First 4 sections were perforated for water inflow. Hopefully not salty water inflow. By the look of the sections remaining, they've got quite a few down. So they have handles that clamp onto the pipe, and they twist it round till it goes down and insert the next one on top. Not the ideal angle for this, but never mind. Okay, so that's the next one inserted. Presumably I'll give that a minute or two to set up and resume the process of driving them down. Okay. So to stop it twisting, I'll put a screw in. And again, not the best angle. I see this episode is getting a bit lengthy, but in summary, we've had solar water heating installed and plumbed through to a shower inside. We've had a bore put down, and we're currently still putting the bore casing down. There's been plumbing done for the garden beds over in the distance. Just about. There's one of the taps you can see, and at the far end. So that's done. And they've started on the electrics to the other houses. So yeah, now that and the excitement with the genset, which is now kind of good, it seems. So there you go. I'll get this put together and uploaded.